Hi, I'm Hugo Monnier, and you're listening to Bears Beyond the Gate.
Okay, you're listening to Bears Beyond the Gate, a Bristol Bears podcast made by fans for fans, with three friends who love the club, the game, and all things Bears. Well, boys, we are actually back at our spiritual home this week. We're at the Bristol Beer Factory tap room in the little studio bar. We've set up all our equipment, equipment that we crowdfunded thanks to the generosity of our hero listeners. Even though it's a bit of a hassle putting it up, and I wasn't really in the mood earlier, but no, I got here and I thought, no, let's stick up the microphones because it makes us look quite professional, doesn't it, lads?
Yeah, it does, and you tried to tip a beer over the equipment as well.
I know, I spilt a pint, and we had to get some. It's classic amateur podcasting. I was just trying to test the levels on the mixer, and I banged the pint, fell over the thing. But luckily, Miles is well trained, and he went off and got some tissue. Wiped it up.
For me, the sacrilege is spilling a pint, and
I know.
I didn't really care about the equipment, but spilling a pint is
head's gone. Head's gone. Terrible behaviour for me.
I'll be honest though, I am finding a real it's taken me a long time, but I'm feeling a real almost like a solace in the microphone, in the headphones, in the microphone. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
it's so much nicer than Zoom, isn't it?
Yeah, does it feel like a good old friend now, does it?
It like your voice is sound so much nicer, even when Miles is squeaking.
Yeah,
it still sounds kind of. It's got a melodic tone to it. And I love it.
Famously, as Tom Tainton said when he came for that interview, he was quite surprised. He said, "Lads, it's like walking into a TalkSport studio."
Yeah,
and I mean, you can't get higher praise than that.
Well, even better.
And Miles is our Simon Jordan.
Yeah, we are. We've got decent beer as well.
What are you, Alan Brazil?
No, I was going to say Mike Barry.
All right. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Anyway, right, we're here to talk about rugby, and obviously Bears did what we wanted them to do. Every Bears fan were hoping that we'd go up to Newcastle and get a bonus point win, which we duly did. If you look at it in the big picture, that was a pretty, impressive performance because whilst Newcastle did get humped the week before away from home, it's not an easy place to go.
Well, historically for us, it's been awful.
No.
I mean, and we don't always get bonus point up there, but when you look at the score and the result, it looks like a comfortable victory, and I think ultimately it was, but of course it came with a great cost, and I think varying levels of injury. We're talking about 5 people getting injured and allegedly 2 players leaving the ground in tears, according to the Bristol Post. Potentially that being Rich Lane and Noah Heward. And I would imagine the reason why you'd be crying, it's not because of the pain, because these boys are hard. It's because maybe that's a season-ending injury for those boys. And if that's true, then that's going to be pretty annoying for our run-in. But let's not dwell on the negatives. Let's
not so early, Pete.
I went early on the negatives. But let's dwell on the positives. And first, before we do there, I mean, when the teams came out, Lee, there was a couple of changes from the Gloucester game. Randall starting.
Yeah.
Marmion was injured, so Wolstenholme was on the bench. And then they put Rich Lane at fullback, Noah Heward starting on the wing with Rivovo on the bench. Mm-hmm. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I was happy with all of those decisions. I mean, obviously Marmion is, has been better in the last few weeks than Randall. He's been sharper. He's been more decisive. Obviously, he's injured, but then I was really impressed with how Harry came into the team and stepped up. It was the old we had the old Harry back.
Yeah.
But actually, I thought all those decisions I was really happy with because they're, it's not like we're bringing in youngsters here. We're bringing in tried and tested guys who, could see the game out for us. And I was actually quite pleased with all those decisions. I think Noah Heward, for me, is an unsung hero in our team. And I was confident. I thought I did think it would be a test, but I was confident we'd pass that test.
Well, Miles, whilst it was an unchanged pack, that didn't last very long because before the game started, it was announced that Joe Batley had got injured in the warm-up, and of course that at the time was a massive worry. And we don't quite know. I don't know if you knew. Have you picked up anything on your news channels, Miles, about what happened, or what have you?
No. I didn't read in the Post. I think it was a sort of hamstring injury in warm-up, potentially. Oh. So that was a late change, wasn't it? A couple of minutes before.
Yeah, but I don't think it's too serious.
No. Well, precautionary?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you're right. We were going to go play on a plastic pitch, which obviously Pat commented and we'll chat about a little bit later on. So precautionary, yeah, and never an easy place to go, Newcastle. Your boys are right. We've never gone up there, and in fact, I think that's our biggest win away at Newcastle. I think historically, it's been a tough place to go. So yeah, why not? Put him off early and replace him with someone who's equally as good and ready to step up.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you said about a difficult place to go, it was actually quite sunny, wasn't it? Actually, it looked like quite a nice bit. It looked like playing rugby in the Costa del Sol.
I know,
but
would have felt wrong.
Yeah, but you think
it's the travel
in years gone by when we've gone there. It's been quite early in the season, if I remember rightly, and it's been really tired and it's been cold, and know what I mean. It was. Different scenario.
I was a little bit concerned. I thought Newcastle, they've been a bit up and down. They have performed quite well. Obviously, they still aren't really winning any games at all. So it would have been an absolute shock, really, that we didn't win. I got to say, I thought they were a bit disappointing. I think they did have quite a lot of young players playing, and I think they gave a debut to one young lad, and they had quite a weak bench. So actually, when you look at it in reality, we were a lot stronger. But you then put in that factor of having to travel up there and it being a plastic pitch. So I think, in that sense, it was actually a pretty professional performance by the Bears. I think, we went 14-0 up really quickly, including the sort of thing we love to see, isn't it? A try from the 22, played it out, and I think it got out to Lena, didn't it? And then Moroney made a lovely little pop, a little round the back. It was almost like classic textbook rugby. Lena straightens, drew this defender, popped it to Moroney. Moroney chipped it through, got a lucky bounce, and then, he's like, yeah, I'm Argentinian. I'm just going to do it out the back, little chicken wing. Why would I do a sensible little pass and off the right hand? And then straight to Lena. But actually in the replays, you then could see that Lena had already started limping before he got the pass from Moroney. So, I mean, it's a real shame that Lena is injured again, but we have to hold our hands up in that moment to say he took one for the fans, didn't he? He was in agony, but he knew that he had to keep on going and dot down. But
I mean, he wasn't at full tilt, but I think he's only just come back from a hamstring injury, and I feel absolutely gutted for him. We loved having him back last week at fullback and at Newcastle this weekend, and that's potentially the season gone. So gutted, really.
But he walked off the pitch. Someone said it might have been calf rather than hamstring, and I'm no medic. So I don't know whether that's better or worse.
Leg. It's on his leg somehow.
I don't know. The way he pulled up, I would suggest hammy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be honest, this might be quite controversial, but I'd have Lena at fullback all day over Lewis Rees-Zammit.
Yeah. No, I think even in that few minutes and the Gloucester game, he's proven that he is a proper fullback. And I think we bang on about this, all the time, is put players in the right positions who know how to play the nuances of that position. Fullback is not a simple position. It's about knowing where to put yourself in the backfield. It's positioning. It's knowing when to hit the line. You've got to be multi-skilled. It's being able to catch. It's being able to kick. And I just find it a bit frustrating that it's like this Gerrard and Lampard thing is you just got to get the best players on the pitch somewhere. Just because we've got a lot of good wingers, we'll stick Lewis Rees-Zammit at fullback. I don't know.
No, and I agree. And I think it's not American football, is it? So, no. I mean, Lewis Rees-Zammit, you kick the ball to him, it's almost like as a running back, he just runs it back. And Lena is so much more tactical, and it's just as a much more all-rounded individual, in my opinion.
But unfortunately, now it appears that he's going to miss the rest of the season. The irony is one of the other earlier in the season, someone I thought played all right at fullback was Benjamin Elizalde. And it'd be interesting to know that, given the squad size, and despite the fact that he's off to Newcastle, whether he might play a few games towards the end of the season when we need.
Well, I think needs must. We were thin on the ground already, and now it's just desperation now. So we're going to have to pull in anyone who's potentially fit and can play there.
Well, I think Rees-Zammit's going to be back from injury, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
He's probably going to play there, isn't he?
Yeah,
in all fairness.
Yeah, no, I think we're speculating over nothing, really. I think it's clear that that's his position. I think partly because we've if you've got Ravovo, you've got Ibitoye fit, we've got Aidan Boshoff in the wings as well, literally in the wings. We're quite well covered, although not as much as we were on the wing. And I mean, if Noah Heward, unfortunately, has also got an season-ending injury, we are going to be pretty threadbare at fullback. But you know who could go there? Fitzharding, because he's a hero. Fitzharding can play everywhere,
anywhere.
Well, and also Tom Jordan could play.
Tom Jordan could play fullback. But the trouble is, the irony of that is he's just getting used to playing 10.
Yeah.
But this is what Pat wanted: versatility, even.
Actually, on that note, Miles, I mean, we talked about this before we started recording, and we'd been a little bit. We'd questioned whether Tom was comfortable at 10, and I think we gave. There was context. It was a difficult comeback after the Six Nations, but he's had 2 good games at 10 now, and I'm starting to think, you know what? I think he is a good 10 when his confidence is up.
Yes, and when you're playing teams that are in the doldrums, i.e. Gloucester, well, if anyone's seen the result today, not based on today, but the way
they played badly last week.
They played very badly last week, and we played Newcastle, who are pinning down the bottom of the table as well. And you get a lot of space, and as you suggested, some very junior, inexperienced players. They did make it easy for us. However, let's not take it away. I think Tom played very well and took most of the kicks while he was on the pitch yesterday. And the pundits, applauded his versatility and his playing in that position. So you're right. The last 2 games, I think that has done his confidence the world of good. And going into a tougher game in 2 weeks in Newcastle, he's going to need that. Yeah,
and we should say Tom Jordan's our number 10. I mean, he is our number 10, full stop. So
he's our number 10. Tommy Jordan. No. He's our number 10.
And we and he's a class player. And we back him. We have to back our boys. We are in the run into the season now where, because of Chiefs getting an extra point today, which in my opinion, Carly was
we'll come on to that.
Bang out of order, but we're in 5th place, and we back our boys to go and do a job.
Absolutely.
What I liked, I can't remember everything about Tom Jordan. What I liked about him, because I thought it was an all-round good 10 performance, because he made a few breaks, scored a couple of tries, and he'd kick well, I thought. And there was what sticks in my mind is he did one sort of long kick to put them back on the back foot, which is something we've talked about for ages. Like, there's times where a good 10 will drill something into the corner. It might be their line out, but you get them back in their 22 and just take the momentum out of a game. And I think the fact he did that gives me a lot of confidence.
And also, I mean, doing that puts pressure on them.
Yeah.
It's their line out, but all the pressure is on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it can flip a game instantly.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, it was a comfortable victory, wasn't it, Miles? I mean, I can't remember how many tries we ran in. 8 tries we ran in. It got a tiny bit close, did it, for a little bit in the first half?
A little bit. I mean, Brocklebank scored his first ever Prem try, didn't he? I think the pundits were telling us.
That's the dirty bastard that hit Sheedy
years
ago, remember that?
He couldn't get anywhere near Jordan, could he?
No. And I think one, unfortunately, came from a bit of a poor clearance kick from Randall, straight deflected, and they scored off it.
We had the ball, didn't we?
Yeah. But apart from that, there's nothing else really.
I think we scored very quickly after half time. I mean, there was a little bit of tackling was optional for them.
Yeah, it was like 21-5 at half time, and I think you're right. 1 minute in, and then Heward ran in another try, and then I think it was pretty apparent it was a safe game, and on the way to victory from then.
That said, I mean, it's easy to say Newcastle aren't a very good side, and the stats suggest that, but you've still got to work hard. Rugby's not a game. I thought the forwards really, really worked hard on Friday, and I think there was one passage of play when there was an intercept, wasn't there, and their guy legged it. Gabsy Bitoye chased him down, but then what was impressive was that everybody had got back into the defensive line, and we eventually then won a penalty in the 22, and Jordan was one, Harry was back. And I think it's a non-negotiable at Newcastle. You've got to earn the right. It's one of those games where I thought we did earn the right, despite them missing tackles. By I think our pack put in a big solid performance, because I'm sure they're big hard boys, but they still probably slight trepidation of like rolling around on that Astro and getting all those burns and things like that. So I still think we need to sort of show that the pack a lot of credit. Again, set piece was solid. You know, we've got that kind of balance of physicality and intensity seems to have come back now. Genji, Kloska, Harry Thacker obviously played a much bigger part with, sadly, Elgray going off.
Yeah.
And then I think we didn't mention it, but George Taylor got his, played a full game, and he'd come into the bench come onto the team because of Batley.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a big unit, big strapping lad.
Isn't he?
And, that he's going to play in a full game on that pitch at Newcastle when there's a bit of pressure on us to make sure we dominate is a good learning curve for the lad.
Well, I don't think there'll be many bigger learning curves. I mean, maybe Gloucester away, facing the shed.
Yeah.
But,
Dropping the ball in front of the shed.
Yeah.
That's a big learning curve, isn't it?
But, I mean, George Taylor is a big star for our future.
Yeah.
And, and we've Pat Lam's set his stall out for him.
Yeah.
And, these are the games that, he needs to be stepping into, and he did. And I thought he was brilliant.
I mean, he's a lock and a six, isn't he?
He is,
He's
yeah.
that kind of hybrid player. And I mean, whilst I was just suggesting that hybrid players aren't a good idea but in some positions in the pack, I think you can have a lock and a six if they're athletic.
Yeah.
And Joe Owen is another one. My only concern, I've got to say, with small squads is I still look at Dunny because I think Dunny's playing really well.
Yeah.
It's just a real shame we didn't give him the money to
Yeah.
stay.
Yeah,
I think we could have kept, Dunny would be going from strength to strength. And I think if he had the competition of George, Joe Owen, Rubiolo, Bats, we've got 5 absolute
I know.
strappers.
We need a big, and it's an extra man in the squad, which is small as it is.
Ooh, on the note of Dunny, did you notice anything about him on Friday?
What colour of his scrum hat?
Yeah.
What was it? What colour?
He had a blue one on.
Blue.
I know. I mean, I thought
Quinns can have him.
I mean, personally, I wasn't a fan, Dunny. So if you're listening to this, mate.
Well, you weren't a fan of the red or the blue?
No, red. It's got to be red.
It's got to be red.
Always got to be
It's
red.
got to be red. And I've spoken to him about this and said, get the red back on. You know what? Because obviously he's a young lad and he's got to do his own washing and all that sort of stuff. And maybe his mum was away on holiday.
Maybe
He's not a young lad. He's 25,
Maybe he
26.
forgot.
Yeah, but he's got his own flat. They all live together. I'm not sure. I imagine.
I moved out when I was 16.
Yeah, I know, but he's got to look after himself. But what I'm trying to say is, I reckon he had to pack his bag for the first time for a while because his mum was away, and he forgot to pack his red scrum cap. And do you know what? And we'll never know unless he's listening and he comes and confirms this. Because George Taylor had a blue scrum cap on, and Joe Owen, I reckon he borrowed one of theirs because he got there and he was like, I reckon he said to Joe Owen, they got into the change room, he's like, oh shit, Joe, I haven't got my scrum cap. I can't tell Pat that I've not got my scrum cap, and I've got to wear it because you can't not wear a scrum cap, Dunny wouldn't look right without a scrum cap.
No.
So I genuinely think he'd forgotten his. Because maybe he was rushing when he was packing to go.
Well, it's a long way, Newcastle. You're not going to pop home and get a spare, right?
Either Joe or George were like, I've got a spare one. Sometimes there's always one, like at cricket. I forgot my pads once at cricket, and there's at least one person who has got a spare pair.
So your box, Pete.
I used to be terrible going down the gym at the City Ground and forgetting my towel every time. So Mike Gibbo, the old
You told this
goalkeeper.
story before, but do it again.
Did I?
I remember this.
Yeah,
Tell
and
us again.
Gibbo used to be brilliant because he used to run the gym down there, and he's like, he's a legend, absolute legend. And every time I'd pack everything else except for the towel, and he'd almost like I'd walk in and Gibbo would have a towel waiting there before I even started anything.
I'm surprised you didn't just say it's drip dry.
I tried it.
Yeah.
I say it's the same one from last week, Lee, because I knew you'd forget it.
I used to wipe my crotch in the towels of like players
hang on
like
a minute. This is
players like Tom Doherty and Lewis Carey, who actually is someone I know quite well now. But yeah, thanks for that, fellas.
Anyway, we digressed
anyway.
a bit there. So, Miles, any other player performances you want to point out?
I'd like to. I haven't got a cap on, but it's on the chair next to me. I'd like to doff my cap to Coffee Cripps,
Yes,
who
good
came
shout.
on. I think for Grondone did, and he had about 30 minutes of potential pec tear, and didn't look out of place at all. I mean, he hasn't had his chances this year. He's been in the sort of.
You got injured.
He got injured, absolutely. He's come back, and so he played most of the game, and he didn't look out of place at all. I thought he had a tremendous game, and fair play. So we're going to need him now. Yeah, for
and
sure.
also, Fitzharding went off after 60, which is a great surprise because he normally does 80 and does everything. And Luka Ivanishvili came on with a bushy moustache, and I think within about 2 minutes he did one massive hit, and that he did one of those classic. He would have loved it. Back row hit. He hit the guy, and then got up and then started driving over the top of him as well. And I think we counter-rose.
I think it was like a double hit, wasn't he? 2 second rows on a back.
That's what you love. That's what you love to see, isn't it? I mean, that's good because he's been in and out, and he's not got his chances as much. But we need some of these players. I think who we sign at the first season. It does take time for them to settle, and I
think so. Yeah.
Hopefully injury free, we might see a bit more of him next year.
I think he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think so.
He's got a little bit of naughtiness about him as well, which I think we all love, and I think we actually need in the squad.
Yeah, no. So it was good to see. It was good to see him come on, and then Jens Kloska, sort of Axis was again. I mean, they're becoming the, I don't know, what would we call them? Chuckle Brothers, or what?
Not to their faces, no.
I call them the A-team.
The A-team, isn't it? It's,
I mean, I feel like Kloska is coming of age.
He is
with every game, and I kind of feel now, it feels like he's at the apex of the start of his kind of career now, and I can only see him getting better, and what better person to learn from Genji? Because he's been there, he's done it, and I'm so impressed.
I feel like we've got a positive. We've moaned in the past about being a bit lightweight in the front row, haven't we? Or we haven't quite. But it feels like this season we've got a really nice balance of front rowers. The front rowers club.
Yeah.
Lovejoy's had a good season. He's been fit. Jake Woolmore, Max. Klosk,
I think we're
Genji. It feels like we couldn't do any better.
We're in a good place.
We're in a really good place, and hopefully that will carry on into next season. I know Graham's law's off, isn't it? He's going.
Yeah, I think so.
But we've got a couple of academy lads, haven't we? Louis Trevitt, Sims, isn't it? The Welsh little lad.
Yeah.
So I think, it feels like the pack. I just feel like it's just a shame they couldn't find the money for Dunny to just give him another contract, and I just feel like that would be. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So anything else you want to mention from the game?
I thought Moroney played really well.
Because obviously he played at Newcastle before.
He did.
He played at Newcastle, and I just thought, actually, I mean, him and Yancey. I mean, we bang on about Yancey and Big Jimmy.
Yeah.
But I thought those two were brilliant, and I mean, the endless running and just kind of the youthfulness of Moroney was outstanding.
I like Yancey at 12 rather than 13 as well.
Do you know what? I kind of agree with that.
I was a bit confused about his post-match interview because an Argentinian, he described him as the Mexican.
No,
he did.
No,
he was obviously a bit tongue in cheek. There was the pundit said, "Have you got a bit of man love between you and Mateus?" He said, "Oh yeah."
Hang on, Miles, which channel was this you were watching?
Pro Rugby. Not TNT.
Yeah, no, I mean, Miles.
He did say, didn't he? I jest with him, call him the Mexican. It's like, is he happy with that?
I think it was probably just a Latin South American thing, but I tell you
it was just a different continent. That's all we can say.
One thing that I was really proud of Yancey is, and he gave praise to God Almighty, and I, as a Christian, I thought that was brilliant, and I loved that from the off.
I thought he was talking about Pat.
Yeah. Well, it could have been.
And there weren't so many cliches because the best cliche pundit female.
Yeah,
who interviewed him.
It was Claire.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised. She could have gone head to head with him.
She was quite quiet.
They could have had a cliche off. But
it was actually brilliant to see Yancey come out and. I don't know. He looked really happy. He looked really like
he's like
I've done a job,
a breath of fresh air to everyone.
Yeah.
He like makes you feel better as a person.
He really does.
He seems like a bloke that's just very, very clear about his position in life, and he's happy. And I mean, I was disappointed he didn't mention Coach Pat, but I do think he's elevated Pat up to God Almighty now. I think he has.
He always mentions Coach Pat. So,
Yeah, but
so
that's what I'm
actually,
saying.
Yeah,
Because
I
he
mean,
didn't say Coach Pat. He
I know.
doesn't. What we don't know in the last few weeks, Pat has been elevated.
But do you think?
We have had Easter.
Do you think the Lord Almighty was Coach Pat?
Yeah, well, it could be. Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean,
tell you what,
Pat has got godlike features in his kind of the way he addresses his disciples. doesn't he?
In our terms, he'll only be godlike if he
When we
wins.
get a victory. Yeah, we need a trophy. A trophy.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Pat. You are you've done a lot of great
You're a
stuff for the
saint.
club.
You're a saint, Pat.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you're not
yeah.
God yet.
No.
But anyway, so yeah, Yancey winning man, and I mean he scored a couple of tries because often we don't feel he doesn't score many,
no.
but he had he had a run in and he had a nice little break. But yeah, I thought Maroney played. I mean he's evergreen. I mean he's 35 odd. He looks as fit as a fiddle, as fit as a
really
butcher's
does.
dog, doesn't he now?
He does.
And actually, I think that when Jimmy came on, Jimmy was quite happy to come on and take over, and he looked full of it.
Yeah.
The Wimborne wizard. And he's such a good player as well. I think we're looking good. It just makes that whole Harlequins game just seem like why did it
Let's
all go
not
wrong?
harp on back to
But it's
that.
so important in terms of the running.
I mean, it could literally be the
It could be the reason why-
decisive factor
Yeah,
of us
Just
not
how did
getting
we
into
not
the
show
top
up?
four. I
Show
know.
up in our anyway. So yeah, Maroney, good point. Any other any other players to mention? Or any issues that
What, some
we
for
noticed?
Newcastle? No, I'm just joking. Well, to be fair, let's doff our cap to, Hodge and Christian Wade both played really well. And
They
I
don't
think,
play for us.
no, for Newcastle. Like we were saying, they're a tough gig. They are a developing side. They've got Christian Wade who's knocking on the door of the most ever
Yeah,
tries.
they're talking about Ashy thinking about coming out of retirement.
And Hodge. So they didn't make it easy for us, but I think we did well to sort of, suppress those two who had a good game.
Although there's one or two Newcastle fans might suggest that Christian Wade is a bit better going forward than defending, but I agree with Hodge. I mean, Hodge is a good player. I like Hodge, and
He just looks so moany, though.
he's got a moan face.
Yes,
hasn't
he has
Yeah.
definitely got a downward smile.
Yeah,
I would if I went from sunny southwest to the northeast.
yeah. Although he is
Well, I
a
mean, he is a Newcastle boy,
lad.
though, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he
So-
is. He is.
No, so yeah, fair play. So I mean, apart from that, I mean, the other big issue that came from that game, obviously, as we've mentioned once or twice, were the injuries, and obviously straight after the game, Pat was doing the TNT, and Austin Healy, and who else was there?
Ben Kay,
Was it
Nick
Ben
Mullins,
Kay?
the
Yeah.
usual.
No, it was Craig. It was I can't remember. No, it was Emma Dodds.
Yeah, the Scottish.
Pat were Pat. You could see Pat was definitely waiting for an
Working the room.
opportunity
He was.
to say it. And, I mean, Pat's comment was, he doesn't think that they should be allowed. You don't. And his point being, they're great for community games to so that you can get games played, but you never see an international game played on a artificial pitch. So why should a Premiership game be played on it? And it did. Then we learned quite a lot in that interview because Austin Healy agreed with him,
Yeah.
but then Austin Healy sort of said that he thinks that the Newcastle one is one of the older ones and the Saracens one, so they're actually a bit harder, whereas the Gloucester one is a little bit more, is a newer
Pliable.
one, so it's not quite as bad. And Pat obviously rolled out a few statistics and about injuries. We average. I think he said we average 3 injuries every time we come up to Newcastle. And I did part of
Hence
me,
the fact that Charles Peartown never
Yeah.
played
part
at
of
Newcastle.
Oh, yeah.
But part of me did say, Pat, show us the evidence. I'd just like to see the workings on that. Is
Yeah.
it true? I'm absolutely happy to believe that. But we did talk about this before. We said, but I wonder how many Newcastle players get injured when they're playing at home, and I don't know the answer. Someone might.
There were none on Friday.
No, and
Interestingly.
it did widen the debate about, I've seen this online about, we do get quite a lot of hamstring injuries and it's so difficult to know whether there's actually a reason for it. But of course, we have an artificial training pitch. Ashton Gate is one of the hybrid pitches. And I don't know if there's anything in that at all. I mean, Miles, you might have a view on that, being a medical man.
I'm not a strength and conditioning
No.
coach, I'm afraid.
No, none
but
of us
yeah, I
are,
mean,
obviously.
there has been a lot of chat on the supporters, group page, and rightly so. We've picked up a lot of hamstring injuries, haven't we, in one particular season, and quite not more than one in just a warm up. So it's a good debate to have, whether it's 4G pitches versus overtraining, or the style in which we play as a team and the system. Who knows? But something it's a bit of a twitch in the back of our mind, isn't there? Something's
And
not
our
quite
hamstrings.
right. And our hammies, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that, I mean, that actually goes along with a bigger picture that actually from the start of the season, we've had so many injuries right from the off. And so I'd agree with Miles. There's something not quite right there. There was only one team, I know, I can't remember, he's got a load of injuries at the moment, but there was only Gloucester that were worse than us.
Yeah.
Quins, sorry.
Oh, yeah, Quins is horrendous.
There was only Gloucester at the start of the season that were worse than us. We had something like 23 injuries, like key players. So to me, we weren't playing on 3G, 4G pitches then.
No.
So this injury
and it's
crisis
more
was
subtle.
way before that.
And it's more subtle than we think. I mean, you've got contact injuries. So if someone gets smashed in the game,
of
and
course.
like Ben Grondona got his shoulder smashed, or Steele Barker got his dislocated shoulder because Genji smashed into him with a tackle bag, that's different to a calf or a strain or a muscle injury.
Or
and I
hammy.
mean, I don't know. There's probably someone, if I was a GCSE stroke A level student, I'd do an EPQ, an extended project qualification on this, and
absolutely.
because all of that data would be there in the public arena somewhere, and you could do a bit of analysis over the 10 clubs, what sort of injuries, because every club gets injuries, but what's the percentage of contact injuries to strains? It'd be interesting. I mean, because I do feel a bit nervous about making statements about this without really having any evidence.
But we have to quantify
We're
it
just fans, aren't we?
Because absolutely, because the fact is we did have 5 injuries at that Newcastle game.
Yep.
And we, did have 23 injuries earlier on in the season. Yeah. So we don't know as fans, as Miles is saying, but the question does need to be asked, why?
And we did mention this beforehand, didn't we, that we Pedro Rubiolo out with an ACL, but we've never heard when that happened. Yeah. Now that must have been a training ground accident because it happened in that Prem Cup.
Yeah.
And it was suddenly announced he's going to have surgery on an ACL. So that might have just been unfortunate, but that was something. Anyway, I think we get too upset and depressed if we keep talking about injuries.
Yeah,
and
well,
we still, as Pat says, and we've said this before, the next man steps up, and as George Taylor stepped up, and
Coffee Cripps stepped up.
Yeah, we've got to be positive about this, and maybe it focuses people's minds. We've got 4 games, 5 games. Is it 4 games left? Yeah,
4.
And everyone's got it's all hand to the pump, as it were.
We should talk about these 4 games left because we got is Sarries next?
Sarries next at home in 2 weekends' time.
So that's vital, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, funny enough, the pundits were sort of commenting on to Jamie George to say, "Oh, you're on a winning streak." He went, "What, you mean 2? Yeah. 2-game winning streak?" But they can turn it up. So that is a vital game. We're at.
Got Northampton away.
We've got to draw up the portcullis has got to come down.
Pull up the drawbridge. Not draw up the pull bridge.
I hope Spencer Mizen's not going to be listening to this because he's going to pull you both.
Well, we know.
I mean, Spencer's time.
Yes.
We need that Miles makes a very good point. We have to we cannot lose to Sarries, and we have done. We can't ever beat bloody Sarries, either at home or away. No. So
this is one of the most important
2
wins
years
of
ago we
many
lost
years.
At home, didn't we?
We did.
Running.
And this is my clarion call to the boys, right? Don't let us down on this game because we have a history of letting us down. The team letting us down.
We've got 2 weeks
when the
to
big
prepare
games
for this.
are around.
We've got 2 weeks to prepare.
We've got 2 weeks to get into it, and we just need to beat Sarries.
And the way we beat, it's very simple how we beat. Because I went to the Sarries away game and we got beaten up there, and on their plastic pitch, we weren't at the races from we got beaten up. We just couldn't get any momentum up top, and they just ran through us. So the focus is we cannot give them anything. They're having an up and down season. They're definitely there for the taking. But they've still got quality players, but we cannot let them get a foothold. We've got to go hard and we've got to go clinical, like we did against Gloucester. We didn't make any mistakes.
No, of course.
Didn't give away any penalties. The discipline has got to be absolutely perfect.
And I think as supporters, we need to be 100% behind the team.
Yeah, we've got off.
Absolutely. I mean, technically, I don't know the scenarios how they will play out, but by the time we go away to Northampton. Let's forget about Northampton and Bath. But could they potentially have nailed their spots? And
Yeah, we don't know.
we just don't know.
Absolutely,
and
that's
that could
right.
skew things, couldn't it?
Yep.
And Sale are having a torrid time at the moment.
My prediction is that we've probably got more of a chance of beating Bath at home than Northampton away. It depends.
But the 2 home games, that we've got to win, haven't we?
Yeah. And then we got Sale away. That's a terrible away game to have at the end.
However, let's look at them at the moment.
But then they put 65 points on Quins. They're playing for there's a lot of issues at Sale, aren't there?
It's just
Worries me,
really kind of. I know we talk about like lack of relegation and stuff like that, and no jeopardy, but it does throw up some really weird results, doesn't it? It kind of like
does.
Yeah,
like you almost can't. There's no way you can set a barometer on it because, like every week can be something different.
Yeah,
and
like Gloucester
beating.
played well today.
Well,
Yeah,
they'll be
that's what I
playing
was
for
gonna
a Champions Cup place now, won't they? The Quins and Gloucester.
Yeah, so it's exciting. We've got a week off because of the semi-finals of Europe, and then we've got a sort of proper.
Very, very important.
So I just realised, boys, we had a few listener things, not as many, so I could read most of them out. I'm going to go through them really quickly. Actually, this one wasn't related to Newcastle. This was for last week, something we said last week, and this was from Robin Hambley, big friend of the pod. And
Do we need to be picked up on something?
Yeah. It was. He said solid pod chat, and he said, we talked about them all having to. I made that joke that we had to. Nick Mullins had to apologise for Genji swearing more times than the penalty.
Yeah.
But we were moaning about, why do they? It's a man's game. Why do they have to apologise all the time? Blah blah blah. And then Robin pointed out quite correctly that Nick Mullins has previously explained, which he probably has, that they have to on behalf of the broadcaster, because if it's before the watershed, they have to apologise, and because it was the first half, he has no choice. He has to. So it was before 9 o'clock.
Right. Can I just say today I was watching the Gloucester game, and Gloucester had a number 17 came on called Bueller, and Nick Mullins.
Ferris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nick Mullins turned round and said, "Anyone?"
Oh,
And
brilliant.
that is
subtle.
class.
That is genius. Anyone?
So
And if
he's
you don't know-
redeemed himself.
And you younger listeners out
You
there,
don't know.
we do have.
If you don't know, you don't know.
If you
just
don't,
leave it there.
if you know, you know. But if not, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Check it
It's
out.
the best film
Yeah.
you can ever watch as a kid.
It reminds me of my teaching, my geography lessons.
Followed by like the Breakfast
anyone?
Club.
Capital of Spain? Anyone?
Anyone?
It's brilliant. Anyway, so that was Robin. So cheers for that. And then going back to the Newcastle game. And actually, I'll go to Robin again. He came in
With a goat.
He came in with a goat, and it wasn't really Bristol. It was to do with the Red Roses game at the weekend. And he came in
which Lee
saying,
and I went to, yeah.
We'll just quickly chat about that in a sec. But he said, at Bears Beyond Gate, have a word with Lewis at the Bristol Beer Factory. Just went to get Infinity Lager at their pop-up shack, or we call it the kiosk.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not selling their own juice.
I know what he's going to say.
What?
There's some reason they can't do that, isn't
Yeah,
there?
no, Lewis, we asked him. We saw him earlier and we said, Lewis, what's going on? And he said, it's the contract.
Contractual.
They're only allowed 4 lines of their own, and all of the lager is Molson Coors.
That's
Actually,
right.
they're not allowed to. So he said, it's not our fault, so don't blame
No.
us. So what he said was to Robin, he said, but if you need an Infinity, come down the...
500 metres down the road.
Come down
a
the
better pub.
Bristol Beer Factory tap room. Say you know Pete, Lee and Miles. Get 50p off. I don't know. I just made that up.
Or otherwise, he did say he'd fight him outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The
he wasn't happy. He was quite... I've never seen Lewis quite indignant. He was a little bit prickly when I read out that to him. So, Robin, you might have made a bit of an enemy there.
He just had to
Lewis.
mop the floor of the tap room, that's why, mate.
Anyway, talking about... we got a couple of poems. I felt really guilty because both Hambleys submitted poems last week, and I forgot to read them out because we had quite a lot of stuff. So, Hammy's given us...
Are these proper poems,
Nah,
though?
it's still acrostics.
See, no, acrostics aren't poems. Can we... Next week, can we actually ask for poems?
Well,
Pete?
we have got a couple of poems. We've got J.P. Holden.
Oh,
But I'm going to read out Hammy's because It's acrostic, and he loves them. And I think he was
Yeah,
upset.
they're
I think he was
great.
upset that I didn't read it out last week. So here we go. It's an acrostic. Here we go. You got to try and work it out.
Go on.
Successive wins, which is nice. Travelling fans were vocal. Injuries are still mounting up. Legendary status being reached by BJVR. Liquid running from Jordan. Immense, that was the first word. Immense tracking back from Ubatoyi. Nice to see Cripps making his debut. That was the second word. And then intense tackles from Ivanishvili. The next few weeks are going to be intense. It's all about the running.
You got it? Still in it.
Still in it.
Miles
Still
is
in
always
it.
He's
so
good at
much
that. Miles
Still
is
in
good.
it.
Yes. You lose interest.
You lose interest
don't you?
after the first word.
Because to you, it feels like it's going back to school again. So you go into muscle memory of not memorising anything, just not listening. Right?
I'm already taking myself out to the playground.
The fair play. But anyway, that was
Still
good.
in it.
But we did have JP Holden, who we've never really just wondered
Well,
what this is.
JP Alden is the
Well,
literary.
have we ever met him?
No, or her. We don't know. Could be
Or
a
her?
We don't know.
Or he?
Anyway,
She?
straight after, and again, JP sent one last week. I didn't read out. Apologies, but this is one that it's never asked for. It's always given, and this one was. He's not an acrosticker. He
No,
likes
he's a proper
haikus,
poet.
Sonnets, everything. Anyway, this one was
Quatrains?
maybe. I don't know what that is. And I did English A level.
Forces of 4.
Oh, nice. Anyway, he said this from Ashton Gate north to Gallagate for the Geordie Bash on Friday night. We'd celebrate with a Thatcher's crate as Nuki Brown's a pile of
Shite.
Well, it's sure no Vienna flight.
Oh,
That's genius.
Love it.
Because that's referencing beers that we've picked up in the past.
Yes.
JP, flaming hell.
Can I just say, JP
Yeah.
Alden, can you private message me, because I would love to have a conversation about poetry with you.
But he sent another one, a very short one. 52 points, but 5 men doon. A real clear night out on the toon.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Oh no, a real deer night.
A
out
real
on
deer
the toon.
night.
I can't even read it. Sorry, but what brilliance that
It's
is.
a
Hamblies, you got to step
Love
up.
it.
No,
Well, not. They've got their own
I
niche.
disagree. It's
niche.
absolutely different.
It's a shame it's always on a Friday night, isn't it, Newcastle away? And I get it, because they cannot compete with football, can they? And that's where they are. And I think we would have loved.
Acrostics cannot be in the same band as poetry.
No, it's different.
no.
different.
Pete, you're a teach.
Yeah, I know.
You need to. We need to define these categories.
Yeah. So talking about acrostics, we have one more. I've just remembered from
Oh,
Rachel
no.
Pierce. Haven't heard from Rachel for a while. She emails in. She likes.
Friend of the pod?
She emailed this in at 6:49. So she just got in
tonight?
time tonight. I appreciate
heck.
this might be a bit rubbish, but
Hang
also
on a minute.
I say this is what I say to my kids. I say,
Well, she's building herself.
I know,
up to
but I
stuff.
say, let me be the judge of that. I'll be the judge of whether it's rubbish or not. Anyway, so she's gone. So anyway, Rachel, we really appreciate it. So here you go. She's in the acrostic sort of category. So here we go. What have we got here? All right, yeah. This is quite.
That begins with a W.
Remember, she's good. It's topical. They're really good acrostics. That the word is quite topical. Like still in it was a good one. So here we go. You ready?
Yeah,
Miles,
yeah.
you got these?
Yeah,
Here we
yeah.
go.
Go for it,
It's
go.
one word. That's all it is. Right. In a second impressive winning. Sorry. Start again. In a second impressive winning streak against Newcastle, Jancy van Rensburg undoubtedly rampant in an exciting show from the team, particularly the replacements on a horrid surface.
You lost me. In Zurich something.
Think about it. You're halfway there.
Endurance.
Injury.
Injuries.
Injuries.
So she went on to say,
good
it
one.
wasn't quite, it didn't quite work, but it was a good effort. She goes on to say, and she's put the effort in.
Wait a
So I'm
minute.
going to read it.
Rachel's one of our most intelligent
Yeah,
listeners.
very intelligent.
Come on, teach.
Well, here we
Rachel,
go.
you need to maybe
him.
step a little bit.
Well, do we know she's a lawyer, and I've got about another 3 pages to read out. So here we go. So here it goes. It says, in
Go
a
on,
second
can you-
impressive... this is not a...
Shorten it.
This is what she wrote afterwards. She said, I've seen some comments about the ref today, ref Exeter, but we have put ourselves into the position we're in with at least 3 poor games.
Hear,
It's an
hear.
absolutely great point.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've mentioned, the Tigers game, getting nothing from that game was disappointing, even though we played quite well.
Yeah.
Harlequins is just a bad
Embarrassment.
result. So, we have been the architects of
It's
our own.
almost like she has been listening to us
Exactly.
pre-pod.
I know. We are too inconsistent. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
I think the top 4, but She says, I think the top four will sadly escape us, and especially so after the injuries for the Newcastle game. She's a lawyer. She looks at facts. I can see where that's coming
absolutely.
from. For you guys, as opposed to the radio, although discussion might be nice, something I've alluded to previously, and she put an exclamation mark, so
Love it.
she lists to previously, is just how we're supposed to compete when the club is for sale. I mean, we're not allowed to, this is, she's assuming
speculation.
I mean, we're not allowed to spend up to the salary cap, and it's clear that Bath clearly do, and arguably beyond. Controversial. Bracket, she's put with some interesting accountancy and possibly paying players well after they've left. Interesting. But how do we keep up with the other teams, and how do we retain our best players? It seems to me we bring good players on, and then they will be naturally tempted away by more dosh.
Yes.
Mind you, if the top clubs are competing for Europe, then even clubs like Bath might struggle against the French teams, as we're talking about a similar comparative situation with wages and salary cap being so much higher in France. I hope you enjoy your evening, lads. Well, cheers, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
All those points are absolutely valid.
Yeah.
I would say Rachel, is factually correct.
And I would
Spot
say,
on.
and I think I was shouting at the telly going, come on, Chiefs are going to get no points, and then about 10 minutes later I was thinking Chiefs are going to get 5.
I know.
I'm like, Carly, what are you doing? And actually you're right, if we had got a victory against Harlequins, we would be in the top 4.
And Rachel is absolutely spot on. It was in our own destiny.
Yeah.
We are the architects of our own demise. Nothing can be said. People are downfall. Even people could even say that Carly decision has cost us. No, we shouldn't have even been here.
Yeah.
We had a big day out, and Harlequins pulled our pants down and embarrassed us.
But what we have done,
we
which
didn't
is
play.
We didn't play. Yeah,
no, we didn't.
Harlequins didn't pull our pants down. We just didn't perform.
And
that is even worse.
Yeah.
I think.
I
in my
agree.
opinion.
We just didn't have the nous to sort it out quickly, and we didn't start with our best players. We had Yancey van Rensburg on the bench, and it's. But we've talked about that. But but I think what is positive about us, and we got to be really positive, is that we've had. We didn't make that mistake against Gloucester. We didn't make that mistake against Newcastle. We've actually put 2 very professional performances in.
Back to back.
We've sorted out our discipline.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating that after the back of quite a good game against Leicester, albeit with no points, we just dipped. I don't know. I think that will be a mystery that is going to be put in. It's going to be followed with Shergar, Lord Lucan, and moon landings. That Harlequins
if that
game.
happened, yeah.
I do feel though we have to be a little bit more realistic and say that we've played 2 quite poor sides, and even though we've been brilliant against both of those sides, we're still going into the next game, and it's a different scenario. I think.
Well,
You're
we've
right.
said
This
season. We have to be on it.
This will be the test, won't it?
Yeah.
You're right. We went back into the sort of run-in. We played let's not deny, a very good Leicester side, and only 1 or 2 teams have won away at Welford Road this season, but hugely disappointed we came away with nothing. Let's not talk about shit day out, but and there we are. Now we're going to face a very good Saracen side who are consistently very poor season. However, on their day can play very well. They've got multiple internationals, and we need to play.
I hope
and get a win.
I hope, and I mean this in a nice way, is Revovo is up against Noah Kalori.
Oh yeah,
because he's got the word with him. Because Noah Kalori is winning the try scoring, he's scored the most tries so far, based on scoring 10 against Sale.
Yeah,
and I think he's brilliant, and I like the look of it. I like the cut of his jib. But he's just a young lad.
Needs to be brought down a peg or 2.
He needs a bit.
What you're saying?
He needs a Fijian education.
right. My worry with that is he is brilliant going forward.
Yeah.
And as much as we love Galavati, he's not
so good going back.
He's not great defending.
I think Galavati. Anyway, that's going to be an interesting matchup. I want him to play. I want him to play.
I agree.
Because I want to see him.
But this is a game where we can't lose.
Slip up.
We
Can't slip up at all.
Absolutely not.
Talking about teams that never lose, should we move on to our second with the Red Roses? You boys went down there, didn't you, to Ashton Gate?
Yeah.
So it was good to see Ashton Gate full, wasn't it?
Miles was in the South Stand.
I was in S18.
I was in the Atio.
Ah, well, interesting. And well, firstly, just give us one each, your comments on the game. Miles, you start.
Absolutely loved it. I mean, let's not deny. very, very warm, sunny afternoon, packed Ashton Gate, about 26,200, which is pretty much near capacity, isn't it? You know, following a team that's not lost for about like 4 years or something. So you can understand why the crowds are following again. However, let's not deny that it was very exciting rugby. I loved the view, etc. And let's just point out that in both England and Wales, someone might correct me, but we had 9 on the bench and in replacements and the starting lineup, 9 Bristol Bears women playing.
Which does beg the question, why are they doing so badly in the league? But anyway, let's move on.
Let's move on, but that is a tremendous statistic, isn't it? You know, you had 4, I believe 4 in the England starting lineup, including replacements, 5 in the Welsh lineup. Absolutely hats off to them, which is bloody brilliant for Bristol Bears women. Yes, you're right. Not quite sure the link between why we've not done so well this season with all those quality players in.
Nate?
As a spectacle, I thought it was just brilliant for Bristol, for BS3, for England, Wales, for Welsh women, for women's rugby. Full stop.
Yeah,
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. As Miles said, it was a full house. The sun was shining, and it was everything that we wanted women's rugby to be. When we started talking about this podcast years ago, and it was a brilliant day
on that
out.
basis, given that it was very different, were you wearing a pink Stetson and a half and half scarf?
Do you know what? There was.
I know the answer to the second one.
There was loads of pink Stetsons, and I actually text Miles to say, like, what was it with the pink? I didn't get it, but obviously Miles will probably tell you this in a minute. Just the whole day, North Street was absolutely booming.
Yeah,
and when we talk about the big day out and we're taking all this stuff away from
I knew this would
BS.
come up.
I know.
But you're right.
Will.
It's fair play. It's playing. It's either playing into the hands or it's absolutely brilliant justification that a full Ashton Gate makes BS3 absolutely buzz.
And Miles, was there anything different going on there to our match days that was
well,
better?
no, actually, because a lead on from last weekend, they had the mobile beer sellers out, mobile pie sellers.
Yeah.
So they've obviously learned a fair bit that if you're getting a big crowds drink a lot of beer, and so that was a big tick. Getting into the stadium, that in addition to let's just say the lack of stewards, they had people on megaphones saying, you can get in any gate, please have your phone at this angle, make sure your ticket's open.
Really?
Yeah. Say, do not wait to get through the turnstiles to open your ticket. Have your ticket opened. I thought that helped with the queues somewhat, didn't it?
Was there any bands? Was there any
I didn't see any.
I didn't stay around for the bands because I had to get off.
No, I mean beforehand. They had the kind of the Praha.
I was pretty late. I had to watch my son playing cricket, so I turned up.
Yeah.
I think there was definitely some.
And what was it like in the Atio? What was the sort of caliber of fan?
Do you know what? I loved the Atio because that was the place I loved, like watching City. So for me, I love that kind of view. But equally, it's not it's like we got season tickets in the Dolman stand, and the view of the actual the kind of your perspective of the game is different.
Yeah,
but actually, the Atio stand is brilliant, and the acoustics are amazing.
We've talked about this, and we'll continue to talk about it. But it just seems, why can't we fill the Atio for rugby with something creative like tenner a ticket,
cheaper tickets?
Get the band, get a couple of bands in there, some drums in there, and like the students and then the people, because the big criticism of which just annoys me in some ways is like when we sell out or when we have too many people get cross about this, people chatting through the game, or just like make the Atio the kind of fun stand,
it doesn't
party
matter, really.
stand.
The acoustics in the Atio are brilliant.
Get some noise from the Atio starting. Get some noise, and it's interesting because I mentioned this before we came out. Is that Roy just flicked to Bristol City, got asked about this after Norwich when they lost
Hodgson.
not of the Wovers.
No.
But when you lost to Norwich 4-1, they filled
4-2 actually.
4-2, yeah. They filled, Norwich fans filled the Atio, didn't they? They
Did
took
they?
all the allocation.
Yeah.
And Woy's point was that he could hear the Atio more than anything else, and it definitely. And then of course Woy don't care, does he? Because he's here for 7 games. So
Do we need to keep
like. He
you know,
is Roy.
slating his
Okay,
like?
but the point I'm trying to make is, but Roy pointed out that he said, "Well, I thought it made a difference, and I don't really understand. You know, putting away fans in a place where it allows them to be noisy doesn't seem right." And I know this has been an ongoing discussion with City fans about not having any home fans in the Atio, and lo and behold, guess what's happening next game? They're selling tickets to the Atio for home fans. Now, I remember going to Ashton Gate
football.
Football.
Well, you were in the Atio.
No. I remember.
It's not
going,
Millwall or Cardiff.
No,
is it?
I remember going to Ashton Gate before it was redeveloped to watch Saints play in the Wedlock, and they had like all the nutters were in one side. The Bristol City fans were right. The nutters were right next to you. The Wedlock.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fucking. I remember it being pretty
Dangerous.
spicy. but you know, then
they swore then, didn't you?
but they changed. I didn't really clock this, but this has obviously been an issue for City fans who've talked about it. And I mean, the point that people are making is that you could stick the away fans right at the top in the worst part of the Lansdowne, like miles up in the Lansdowne, because I do think you've got to do everything you can to get home advantage in particularly football when it's full, but even rugby as well. Yeah. And you know, I don't like the fact that the Atio's empty sometimes. I just don't think the players.
Yeah, I agree.
The players
I agree.
I just have to work that we have to have the Atio open, even if you just got the middle ones open. It was that Gloucester game. They had 3 middle sections, and then Bongo Cam was brilliant in the Atio because they had a few. Yeah. So
a big tick. I fully agree. I think we should open the Atio Central before they start mucking around with the Upper Lansdowne to get the all-round fan experience.
Or even, I mean, there is a debate about designated seating for away fans and stuff, but you could, for every away game we have, you could go to the club and say, if you want, we'll charge your away fans a tenner a ticket to come to the Atio. Come into the Atio. We'll to make the journey worthwhile. We'll almost charge you nothing, a £5 to get in the Atio, just so we can encourage a few away fans from Gloucester or Leicester.
Well, Pete,
to come.
Yeah, so do you know how much an under-19s ticket for the World Champions to come and watch rugby yesterday was?
£5.
£2.50. I mean, come on, that's how you get young fans engaged and they fill the stadium. So it's not a difficult lesson to learn, is it?
If you had the Atios, you could have magicians in the Atio.
Exactly.
You could have everything.
We had Mexican waves yesterday, didn't we, Lee?
Yeah, we did.
They were a bit lacklustre, but that's it. You've got to get youngsters involved. And why not? Why not?
But
Cheap
the point
tickets.
It's the future of the game, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like, everyone could have their space in the stadium. Do the fun stuff in the Atio, and the people that want to have a bit of a laugh might migrate there, and the people that want to kind of just go Bristol all the time, which is like us, can be in the Dolman, in the Lansdowne, or the Lands. It's almost like every ground. Create an identity for every part of the ground and sell that identity to people. So therefore, you're being inclusive, aren't you?
You could say part of your ticket is Bongo Cam is mandatory in the Atio.
Yeah. But if you're in the Atio, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you're in the South Stand, we expect you to do a bit of singing.
And we've said
Dolman,
this, mate. You've called this, Pete, for ages.
Yeah.
The Atio is so underused.
But I think going more though, I'm just now thinking this is a good idea. Like the Dolman Wings could be a different identity to the Dolman Centre.
Yeah,
sell
and also,
the places on what you get from them.
And the front of the Dolman as well. When you're right there, when it's like, you know what I mean. The camera's
We've
there.
got so few home games at the moment. Every home game counts.
Yeah.
Even Prem Cup home
absolutely.
games. Even you could experiment with all this sort of stuff with some of those Prem Cup games. Just experiment a bit with something. I don't know.
We've got a 5:30, haven't we, against Saracens, and not next weekend, the weekend after.
Yeah.
You're right. There's got to be some innovative thinking about fan engagement. Why not?
Against Saracens, we go to every rugby club and we say, right, we've got a massive Bristol Bears flag.
Yeah.
And what we want, for a £5, you get in the Atio and you're going to be under that flag.
Yeah,
and we
go
have
for
like
it.
they do in Italy with those massive
If
flags.
not-
And the job is, in fact, we'll give you,
If
we'll pay you a £5
we will get
to shake
we
the
will
flag.
get a Bears Beyond the Gate 100-metre flag
Yeah.
if the club are not prepared to do that.
We could crowdfund 100-metre Bears Beyond the Gate flag in the Atio, and we will recruit kids and older bloke, and we do that thing where the flag goes down the stand and back again.
It's a brilliant idea.
What a great idea!
It's a brilliant idea. It's a game. Sarries is a game we need to win. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to make them feel that it's not fun.
Even if I know City years ago they put I think it was the Man City semi-final League Cup game. They put scarves on the seats.
Is this a game where there is the resurrection of flags?
Yeah, but you go French games, Bordeaux, Toulouse, flags
they all
everywhere.
do that every single week.
How many years ago did we last see a Bears flag on your seats?
How much does it cost, economies of scale, to knock out a cheap flag that lasts and then so everybody's...
I've still got a couple.
So everybody's flag, when they run out on the pitch, everybody, South Stand, Dolman, we're all got flags.
Collectively, we're all supporting our team.
Because it's such a must-win game. We've got to do everything. And, I mean, let's not do fireworks. Let's leave that. Because Sarries and fireworks... Sarries and fireworks is not something that goes well together. And but I just think... You could do some quite easy, cheap stuff to get that atmosphere going, and but be upfront about it.
Yeah,
just say the Atio is like you get nothing, but you get a bongo. And
there we are.
You're gonna be basically say if you're in the Atio, you're guaranteed to be on bongo cam.
job done.
Go for it.
Rather than randomly
big flags, they've got to come back.
Just
haven't
say
they,
okay,
from last weekend.
Simba cam is South Stand because there are a few kids there. You know, have it like be creative with rather than randomly do this stuff. What's his name? Downsy came up to the Dolman once, didn't he? About 3 years ago. Yeah. Why not do something? You do one thing in the Dolman, even get Mark smiling.
Was absolutely knackered, wasn't he?
Anyway, I think we've gone on a lot about that. Right. This is a bit of a ramble. We need to stop. Anything else anyone wants to talk about? We haven't got anything for 2 weeks. I'm not sure we'll do one next Sunday because I think we'll just,
have a weekend.
We've talked about
how important Saracens
regardless
is.
of what team we have picked, Saracens, we want this. It's got to be error-free, intense, 5 points. It's got to be. If we got pretensions to go down and play Bath again, which is probably what'll happen in the playoffs, then that was great.
Team-wise, then what we're thinking, because
I don't know. It depends on who recovers, doesn't it? I don't think we can speculate at this point. There's too many unponderables. We want Bats back. We just hope to God that Bats is back.
To be back.
Has to be back.
That's the biggest key for us.
I genuinely don't. I mean, based on just vague ideas, I don't think Lena's going to see him again. Which is a real shame.
Sadly not, and I think.
But maybe Lewis Rees-Zammit will be back.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so. I think he's on the cusp.
I don't think we're going to be badly off, but it has to be Bats. We have to have Bats.
Agreed.
And Dunny needs to pack his red blooming. Well, it's all right. It's a home game, so he can always nip back up to get his cap.
We could go pick it up for him if he wants.
Yeah. Right, on that note, I just think that's it. I don't think we can speculate on team at this point. We've got to get the best possible team out, who are fit, and we've got to win.
Yes.
Simple. It's very simple. It's simple to say, difficult to do.
Simples.
And it's time, Sarries. It's time they got taken down.
Yeah. Big time.
Right, on that note, on an angry note at the end, have a good week. Stay safe. And 1, 2, 3. Up the Bears.